I came back to education in the mid-30s, age, not years, and I found it incredibly difficult because when I was at school we didn't use calculators. I didn't basically do any exams at school, hardly. Left with no GCSEs as we got down in England. When I came here, I did an introduction to construction course. I moved into engineering at an NC. I did my standard grade and hires in maths in that same year so that I could progress in engineering, which went on to do the advanced hires. I found adjusting to doing maths again, using calculators, and that was all very, very hard to learn again, but also rewarding because you got an incredible feeling of pride when you did pass things, and I was very, very chuffed with it, and it kept spurring me on to do more and more. I left school at a very young age with no qualifications. I was lucky, I went straight into work. I became a chef. I was a chef for 14 years roughly. I also did security work, and then obviously I had a family tragedy. I lost one of my children and I had a bit of a blip and became dependent on substances. I had quite a drink problem, ended up getting quite a bit of trouble and whatnot. And in order to combat this, a drug and alcohol worker I had decided to help me to get back into education. I would say that sometimes, I suppose, if you've left education, sometimes you think college and universities, things like that, they're not for you. The route's not open to you. You didn't get anything at school. You think that's academics not for you. So I tried it, and like I say, I got an immense sense of pride every time I passed something, and it spurred me on to keep going and keep going. So yeah, if I can do it, anybody can do it. As a mature student, you have a certain outlook on how you act, how you behave, how your approach to certain things that younger people may not have. So definitely adjusting back into life in education. I would say I'm quite serious on a lot of things. If I've got something to do, I don't like to lark around and mess around, and that I tend to get my head into something and do it. And I can be impatient of people that like to have a laugh about at times, but each to their own, I suppose. Some people learn and can have a laugh and a joke. Because I put 100% concentration into things, I tend to go into a zone, and that helps me. I struggled with the HND in engineering. I struggled a bit with that. At the time, I just thought it was because I was older and I didn't do anything at school. I thought it was just because of these things. When I went to do civil engineering, I struggled quite a lot still. I was pushed by somebody that I'd met at that institution to go and seek help with the disability coordinator, which I did do, and I was assessed and told that I had dyslexia. And they were actually quite impressed that I'd got as far as I'd got without any help, but I decided to give civil engineering a body swerve because I was struggling quite a lot with the mathematics. So I thought if I'm struggling at that point, there was no point in going any further, and switched my degree to criminology. I think the biggest setback I had was not asking for the help earlier in at college. I didn't ask for the help. I hid it because it was a construction-based program and it was at a technical college, and I felt embarrassed about having an anxiety disorder. This led to me not attending certain classes, leaving classes early. Sometimes I wouldn't even leave the house and go into class because I was so anxious, and my grades fell. When I went to university, I again didn't go for the help initially, and I would leave classes because of anxiety. Some of the classes were rather large compared to the college. One of the things about transitioning to university is the class sizes can quadruple. But after going for the help with the DSA and the disability support worker, I approached lecturers, which made them aware that I had an anxiety disorder, and some of the lecturers would come and speak to me about it. And rather than being embarrassed about it, I opened up to them and told them. And this led to them agreeing to allow me to use dictaphones and other things, and also go and see them one-to-one if I wasn't unsure of something, because I'd had a bit of a panic attack during a class. One of the things that I found hard to sort of try and put through to them without the disability support workers' help at first was I might be present in a class sometimes, But because you're having a panic attack, you're paying no attention to what people are saying in that class because you're trying to control your breathing, you're trying to control your mindset, and you're present, but you're not there. So these tutors are now aware of this, and they have helped tremendously. Some of them can recognise when I'm getting a bit anxious, and they slow the class down. They have a wee break for everyone to go and use the toilet, but it's mainly, sometimes it can be just to pull me aside and say, "You okay?" You know, when you get a panic attack, you feel like you're having a heart attack, you feel like you're going to die. Rather than trying to get away from them feelings, stay with them. And try and write out, realise you're not going to die. Try and reframe your brain to deal with it rather than be scared of it. So I joined the Students' Association, I stood for election, I was successful, and I just threw myself into every situation I could, whether it was public speaking, different award ceremonies, things like that on stages, which the year previous to that I would never have gone near, I wouldn't have even attended. So I pushed myself into all these situations. So I ran for NUS Disability Officer in Scotland. I weren't successful for that, I came second place. But again, I was on a platform where I was speaking to quite a lot of students, and it was heart-wrenching, and I had a massive panic attack doing it, but I stuck with it, and it helped a lot because I'm able to do a lot more now and put myself in these situations and realise that no harm's going to come to you. You're not in any danger, and the people that are with you are there and they care about you. Previous to this, I didn't realise that, and when you get involved with the Students' Association, you get involved with some of this stuff, you realise they are there to help you, and they do like helping you. So go for that help. That's what they're there for. One of the biggest things that kept me going is I've got two disabled sons, and I'm trying to prove to them it doesn't matter what disabilities you've got, it doesn't matter what problems, what backgrounds you've got, you can do whatever you set your mind to doing. If you want to do something, go for it. If you fail, you fail. Try again. You know, I mean, I'm not going to pass everything. I've failed a couple of things, but I've got over it eventually. You know, I mean, athletes don't succeed every first time with everything. They train and they keep going. So in essence, I want to prove to my kids, it doesn't matter how old you are, when you return to it, you can do it if you want to. You know, so they're my biggest inspiration. And I do want to get a decent job out of it at the end of the day, but money's not my motivator. I want to work with young lads and young kids and try and steer them off the path that I was on once, and sort of help them get back on a decent path and sort of help them the way I was helped. So it's passing it back on.